Hi everyone, this is Anup from Informatica GCS team. Today we are going to take a look at an update done to DQ arrows with DQ rules with multiple input ports. So that's our agenda to check how the support has been introduced with multiple input ports for DQ rules while creating the DQ arrows manually. So what was before 2023 release in CDGC, we supported DQ rule with single input field. And the cloud data quality supported multiple input port rules to generate scorecards. Therefore, the rules, CDQ rules created in CDGC with multiple input ports were not possible to be used in CDGC. That has been overcome in November 2023 release. User will be able to select CDQ rules which has multiple input port rules while creating the manual DQ arrows. So it applies only to the manual DQ arrows and not to the DQ arrows created from rule template. So while creating DQ arrows, once we select CDQ rule, user will be able to map the primary and secondary data element to the multiple input port CDQ rule. Now for that, let's quickly take a look at a demo. So I have this catalog source which has a table called subscriptions, and the subscription table has these 5 columns. We are going to use two columns. One is end date, which has these 5 values, and we are going to use another column which has start date, which has these 5 rows. So we are going to create a DQ arrow which will validate the end date is greater than start date. For that, in cloud data quality, I have created a rule called demo with dimension accuracy. It has two inputs, input 1, input 2, and the logic is if input 1 is greater than input 2, then this rule is valid. We are going to use this rule in CDGC while creating DQ arrow. So now let's quickly create a DQ arrow. Name can be date validation demo. Dimension accuracy measuring method is Informatica cloud data quality. Primary data element, we are going to choose it from the subscriptions table. So that's our catalog subscriptions table. We are going to select end date as the primary data element. Then the secondary data element, while selecting secondary data element, it loads the table from where the primary data element has been selected. So that is how it's been configured. So now we are going to select the start date here, and we can have multiple secondary data elements which are input to the primary data element as per the rule set in cloud data quality. So for one data primary data element, there can be multiple inputs for the secondary data element, and that will constitute a rule. Now in this case, we are going to select the rule demo. This is the rule demo, and we are going to map the primary data element end date and secondary data element start date. So these are the input parameters. Then we can set the criticality, target, threshold, frequency, and a stakeholder. The stakeholder will have an option to run the DQ arrow manually using run now option. So I have created a DQ arrow already and run it with the same configuration, primary data element set to end date, secondary data element to start date. And in this case, the rule is valid. All the 5 rows are valid and following the rule that end date is greater than start date. That's why our score is 100% here. That is it about the DQ arrow with multiple input port rules. That is what we have uh, been mentioned in the uh, details. The score should always be created or reported on the primary data element. The score aggregation will always consider primary data element. Once the primary and secondary data elements are set and rule has been or DQ has been executed, we cannot change these values. And once the user selects primary data element and secondary data element, so while selecting the secondary data element, the same table from where the primary data element has been selected will be available. This is what we have seen. Then uh, for the rule, we can only use the rule which is created from cloud data quality. The natural language processing support has not been uh, allowed or supported yet. So the NLP in the DQROs where we can provide the English-like language to create the rule, that is not yet supported for these multiple input port rules. So that's in nutshell about the update to the DQROs. Here is a documentation on the DQROs and the update provided in November release. If you have any feedback about this video, you can reach out to us using this email address or the Twitter account. Thank you.